So this is when we get to stretch out a little bit, because basically it's just me and Jamal going to have a chat now, which is like my dream come true. And I want to go all the way back to the beginning, Jamal. Tell us what the years before you started SBTV, what were they like for you?
So I started it when I was 15, and I think the main reason for starting it was the artist that I wanted to film wasn't being represented on mainstream media. So I started uploading onto YouTube and putting it on YouTube and trying to find a load of artists that basically wasn't famous. And then that's what allowed me to then open the doors for artists and myself. But similar, I didn't want to be in the public eye as much. I think like when people started to know who I was, I really was a fan of Banksy, like making videos but no one knowing who I was. And then I did the Google Chrome advert, which then sort of like sprung me into the limelight, and then everyone wanted to know a little bit more about me.
So 15 years old, you're growing up, passionate about music. And how did you kind of get into technology? Because I guess none of this would have been possible in my day, like, because we didn't have computers growing up. Yeah. But you know, what was your first kind of introduction to technology? I
think it was YouTube and like Windows. I had a Windows PC, but I used to have mini DV tapes, and that was what I used to upload onto YouTube. I didn't really know anything about tech. My mum didn't know anything. It was just a lot of like Googling how to learn. And I think in the early days, I wanted to work for BBC, I wanted to work for like these big TV corporations, but I didn't know how to actually get my foot in the door. But then like years later down the line, BBC actually got in touch with me and gave me a job, which was off the back of my YouTube channel, and they said, come in and produce a series for us. So like that was like how it was crazy, because I remember my mum used to take my camera and ground me, but she didn't realise that like I could actually get a job in BBC. Yeah.
I bet she's kind of proud now, isn't she?
Well, yeah, she's proud now, but those days it wasn't funny.
No.
Yeah, it wasn't funny.
So 15, you're there, you're teaching yourself how to use a computer and sort of upload all this stuff and everything. And what was the breakthrough moment for you? When did you think, oh, I'm putting all this stuff up here and people are actually watching?
I think, so I was working in Top Man for 5 years. And again, my parents, I wanted to leave Top Man to focus on videos, because I was working at Top Man, this was like years on later down the line, I was going to college, and I figured out if I could leave Top Man, then I can get SBTV like proper going. And I think I came home with my check, and my mum was like, this is not a steady income, you're staying in Top Man. So I basically worked really hard to match my YouTube checks and my Top Man checks. And I think one day I got it to like, I think it was like 500 quid. And then I went home and I was like, look, I've got it. And then she allowed me to sort of step back a little bit from Top Man and focus on SBTV. So I think that was definitely a moment, a career-defining moment, when I was able to like change it into actual business and make money off YouTube.
Wow. And like, who would have thought, like back in the day, that like you could actually turn that into a job?
Yeah. I think I think in the early days I got denied 3 times for my YouTube partnership, but I still kept on going back. I kept on emailing them and saying, why not? Why can't I? This is something new, original music. I think in the early days it was like Practice Hours, Risky Roads. There was a lot of DVDs that were filming grime artists, but there wasn't anything original on YouTube. And all the stuff that was on YouTube was ripped from the DVDs. So I was like, all right, there's a gap in the market. And then the 3rd time they was able to give it to me as a partnership.
Yeah. Now, you said that you wanted to be behind the scenes, but SB is actually your initials.
Yeah.
Weren't they? So
yeah.
you kind of named your TV channel after yourself.
No, well, yeah. It was Smoky Bars because I was an MC. But that was like a name I want to get rid of. Only people that have been there for like however many years will know that. But SB stands for self-belief. Original Smoky Bars, but self-belief. Yeah.
I like that, repurposing,
yeah,
self-belief.
But yeah, my middle name is Sean Brendan. Yeah.
Oh,
cool.
right, okay, there you go. Yeah. I'm just teasing anyway. But so how were you finding the new content? Because so much of your channel is based on what is new, what is up and coming, that's a lot of work. Was it just you? How were you sourcing all of this?
So at the beginning it was me, and it was just my local mates. And then I used to travel to other areas. So I'm from West London, so I used to go to North, East, South. I used to sneak into clubs to try and get artists. I used to wait outside like the Mayfair Hotel. Like, I remember Kelly Rowland was there, so I found out she was there. I was literally like waiting outside to speak to a guy called Darren Dixon and like begging him to get an interview. And it was like just a lot of begging. And after I had the video, I then sent that to other artists. So I was like, look, Kelly Rowland did it. Why can't you do it? And it was just a lot of, it was a lot of that.
That is self-belief TV.
Yeah. Self-belief, man. That's what I had. I think like when I was younger, I had a lot of like balls, like just I didn't care. I just wanted to film. I always had my camera. Like I've got my camera in my bag now. Like I've just always got it on me. And I think that's something that people used to recognize a lot.
Yeah. That fearlessness, going back, that fearlessness, I think is something that all three of you absolutely have. So let's talk a little bit about digital advertising and how that has changed over, the past kind of decade, because now we hear YouTube and social media and stuff. Everybody kind of wanting to make money from that, but you've always retained your authenticity, which is, in a world that is kind of built on things that are always new and shiny and presenting a particular image. How do you preserve that?
I think in the early days, it was how I used to advertise my videos. I just used to use the resource as much. So when Irene was talking about coming here and using the Wi-Fi and the like free printers and stuff like that, in school, I used the printers and ink. So I was able to print out loads of SBTV flyers and literally go to Acton High Street and give them out. That was like one of my early days of advertising. Then another time, I found a computer in my school that took over every single computer in the school and changed it to SBTV homepage. And then basically nearly got kicked out for that. But loads of people knew the channel off the back of that. And then I remember being in like year 10 or year 9, and the older kids used to be like, oh, like, did you hear about this SBTV thing? Like, changed all the computers in the school. And I was like known for that. And then when my parents said, if you do that again, I'm going to get in serious trouble, I then went, Westfield opened, so then I changed every Apple computer to SBTV on YouTube. And then I started just doing, like, just thinking of ways how I could get the channel out there. And then after that, I was able to employ like a PR to help the videos that I wanted to make. And then it was a lot of like targeted PR after that instead of just doing it rogue. But in the early days, that really did help me like get my name out there, especially in my area.
Yeah, and I guess that's where the roots and the authenticity comes from. I mean, that is real entrepreneurial spirit. Like,
yeah. And then I think
that is admirable.
I think what allowed me to then build it outside of just the local scene is in terms of authenticity and credibility. I think I was very underground and I was just focused on a lot of grime MCs and rappers, and I loved it. That was what I wanted to do. But again, I was trying to think how I could take it to a next level. And I really wanted to film singers. My mum's a singer. She always like, why don't you put singers on the channel? I'm like, I don't think put you on the channel is right at this moment.
Was your mum on X Factor?
Yeah, back in the day. But I'm glad people don't know that because it's not on the channel. It's not on the channel. But yeah, she came fourth like in one of the years. But I never thought I could ever put her on SB. Maybe now because it's grown. But I remember the first video I did with a singer was like Maverick Sabre and Ed Sheeran. And I remember sitting down with Ed in the kitchen being like, oh, I'm not sure if this video is going to go well. You're going to get loads of dislikes. I'm going to get like no views. But the thing that related a lot was that he was MCing, rapping, singing, and he was very talented. So I realised I could scale up as long as it was good music. So it doesn't matter if it was grime or rap or acoustic or pop. It's just got to be good music, and then that helped me.
Yeah. And talk us through a little bit of your journey then, because, that was a breakthrough moment, when you're realizing, you can make money from it, then you're building your brand. What was the moment when you just thought, whoa, like this is actually everything that I've been working so hard it's here now?
There's been so many I call it oomph moments. I think like the MBE was definitely an oomph moment, like when I got that. And it just, if anything, it just like legitimized what I was doing a little bit more. I knew what I was doing. I was quite confident with what I was doing, but I wasn't like, sometimes even when I go into places, I get a bit like, whoa, I'm just a bit nervous. But having an MBE in certain places was opened quite a few doors. And I think also sort of a more recent project that I've been working on for the past year and a half was like setting up youth centres. So like I was supposed to do one youth club in my area when I went back to Acton, and I ended up doing 4, and able to use my partnerships in Google and the Wellcome Trust to help me fund the youth centres. So I've reopened 4 youth centres in Acton, and that when I go there and I've engaged with like 150 kids from my area, I'm just like, whoa, like SBTV over how many years I've been doing it has equaled me into doing this. And I took a bit of a step back from SB to focus on more community work, which has been very I've learned a lot. Like I'm even taking a child trauma course in a few weeks. I want to learn a lot more about the area and how to deal with stuff that happens. So yeah, I think that's like definitely one of my most recent things that I've done that has helped me, not helped me, but SB has helped me create that sort of opportunity.
Yeah. You've done a lot of work to help break down stigma around mental health and anxiety and things like that. Could you tell us a little bit more about that as well?
Yeah, I think one of the early things, even like coming to present, I'm like getting clammy hands thinking about me presenting, and that's why I like to have a conversation. And it's one of the things that I always try and get over. But I think what started me working a little bit more around the mental health was, unfortunately, 2 people on the estate that I grew up on killed themselves within a short period of time. And all the boys on the estate were like, we don't know how and why is that happening. And I just thought I had like a responsibility to have a conversation about it and get some like tough, like rough guys to talk about their feelings a little bit more. And I felt like I had a platform to be able to do that. And it just happened because of that. I didn't have any other reason to do it except for it affected people that was close to me. And yeah, that's the reason why I do it. And if I can do it a little bit more, but it's got to be in obviously a way that's sort of just credible, not just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like everything you've done has been based on, those deep roots of authenticity. So that carries you through life.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd like to ask you a question about, because me being the night czar and, helping London to thrive at night, do you think that there's, basically, can we work together?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Basically, I just
100%.
I'll just blurt it out.
You should come to our event. Me and Irene got an event on Sunday. Yeah,
Really?
we pulled out of the bag last minute. So it's funny how she was on the panel as well. Like everything happens for a reason. We've got a fashion week. Yeah, so feel free to come to that.
Fantastic. That would be brilliant.
No
okay.
worries. I've also got one of the oomph moments that happened that I always play was the Google Chrome adverts. I don't know if many have seen it.
Can we have a look?
I'll play that. It's like an old school.
All right. Well, when they get it up, they might have to load it up. So we'll come back to it in a second. Do we have any questions to open it up?